Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run.
This is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. Today we have Dona, Neely. And Dona is the executive director of the Great Exchange. Where did I read about you?
In the Worcester Business Journal.
The Worcester Business Journal. How did they find you? I often wonder.
So I pursue any opportunity that I can to raise awareness about our program. Mm-hmm. And one of the writers for the publication was doing a story on mass development, and I'm in mass development's office building. Okay. So we were both at the same function, and after he did his assigned duty, I kind of cornered him and said, "Hey, I have a story for you."
And he liked it. Well, obviously, he wanted to go ahead, and so he made an appointment to come and interview you. Mm-hmm. And you enjoyed it?
Yes, very much.
Well, when I read about it, we're talking about the Great Exchange, and I'm going to let you take it away. Explain to viewers what that is.
So the Great Exchange is an alternative tool to dispose of unneeded or excess resources. So there's waste generated in the manufacturing environment as well as in all other institutions on a regular basis. There's byproducts that are generated with the manufacturing process. There's packing and shipping materials. There's imperfect or outdated inventories or excess office supplies or furniture that got replaced. And before the Great Exchange, businesses throughout the central Mass region and beyond now, had no alternative really but to dispose of those unneeded resources. So I created the Great Exchange just about 10 years ago now.
I didn't know you were the founder.
I am, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So I created the Great Exchange as a way to preserve the value of those resources. Mm-hmm. So these materials are donated to me, and I make them available primarily to other not-for-profit entities, but also to small businesses as well.
Small businesses, schools?
Oh, absolutely. They're probably my primary benefactor.
This is the first I had, when I read your article, the first I'd even heard of this. And I thought, why haven't, I think most of us heard about this? It's 10 years old. You'd think, why haven't we heard more?
Primarily because up until a year ago, I've been a one-person shop. So it's, the Great Exchange is one program that my nonprofit has to offer. So, I'm always juggling the balls and trying to keep everything moving forward. Yeah. But a year ago, I doubled my staff, and now I'm a staff of 2. Woo-hoo.
I thought you were going to tell me now I'm 10 people. It's just it's you and someone else.
Yeah, and so that's really freed me up to get out and pursue various opportunities to raise awareness of the program and engage more businesses to donate their excess materials and engage more schools and municipal entities and other nonprofit organizations and drama clubs, etc., to bring them in to take advantage of the materials we have to share.
Now, Dona, show us some of the pictures that you've brought with us. That'll show you a lot more. Hold those up.
Sure. So could I step back and maybe give the history of the program a little bit? So when we first kicked it off, I, in my work with area manufacturers, where the focus on improving the sustainability of their operations, I became acutely aware of how much waste was generated on a daily basis. And it was really bothering me, and I was driven to do something about it. So I was working with a particular food manufacturer, and they were throwing away over 100 of these really large clear plastic bags on a daily basis. And it cringed every time I saw these bins overflowing. So I asked them if they wouldn't mind putting these bags aside, because I was convinced that I'd be able to find a reuse opportunity for them. So they agreed, because by putting them aside, they weren't going to have to take up space in their dumpster and pay for these to be sent to the landfill. So it was going to be a cost savings for them. So the same type of experience, I had with various other manufacturers. So I came up with this idea to have an event, and basically it was a show and tell. So I went to the businesses that I was working with, and I said, so you know that stuff that you throw away on a daily basis, I want you to bring it to an event, and we're going to share your trash with others. Well, needless to say, they kind of raised their eyebrows, and they were like,
were they all business people, or were there some regular residents in towns there too?
No, this was all business
all
people,
business.
Primarily executives.
We're going to share your trash.
We're going to share your trash.
That was a great intro. You got their attention.
Exactly. So they were more entertained and intrigued than anything else. They were like, well, this is going to be interesting. Right? It's not every day you get invited to a meeting to bring your trash.
Exactly.
So I, specified specific items that I thought they should bring, and then I also invited representatives from area schools and nonprofit organizations, and I kind of gave them the highlights of some things that were out there and available for free, and encouraged them to give thought to how they might take advantage of them, or what resources would they really appreciate having donated to them. So I brought everybody into the room, and it was supposed to be a 2-hour event. And I was, needless to say, a little bit nervous on how successful it would be.
Were you the speaker? Were you the presenter?
Mm-hmm. I was the organizer, the speaker.
Do you use PowerPoints, or is it just...
It depends on the situation.
I mean, I'm not crazy about PowerPoints. I'd rather just listen to you and focus on what you're saying.
Yeah. I was really nervous. It was like, this is either going to be a terrific success and great things are going to come out of it, or it's going to be a flop and I'm going to be terribly embarrassed and that's going to be the end of my career. Yeah. But I had to take that chance, and I'm really pleased to say that it was supposed to be a 2-hour event, and I actually had to stop the interactions 3 hours later because we had to give up the conference space.
You made a hit?
The conference room, yeah. So what we did was I had each of the businesses come up, and they, basically said, hi, my name is, and I'm with such and such a business, and we have this. And I gave everybody this form that they could keep track of, who they wanted to follow up with afterwards. And then the second half of that meeting was just people networking and saying, hey, I want that because I will, Mm-hmm. And because so many wonderful connections were made, and there were so many reuse opportunities that were identified, primarily for materials that were available on a regular basis.
Now, this would include hospitals, because that's a whole different animal. You don't want the trash from there, do you? I mean,
no, it's all resources. Our focus is on any resources that could be appreciated by other organizations. So it has to be either new or like new.
Office supplies.
No toxic, components, no, significant wear, that sort of thing. So over time, we started from that one event. We then identified some opportunities to pick materials up on a regular basis. And I actually had this little caravan of people that would go. We'd all follow each other, and the businesses would leave their stashes, their trash, like out on the loading dock.
Where do you find time for this? You don't get paid, do you?
Now I do, yes, thank goodness.
They'll pay you to take it away?
No, they don't pay me to take it away, but I'm grant funded.
Oh, good.
And as we've expanded the program, we've been able to generate a little bit of revenue off of the resources that we're sharing.
Yes, but how do you find the time to do all this?
That's why it's been difficult for me to raise awareness, right? Waste is my passion. Our resources are finite. So I need to do whatever I can do to minimize waste. So we went from picking up stashes on the back of loading docks to having events once a year, then 3 times a year. I'm pretty close to 6 times a year. I think I'll be every other month by the end of 2018. And if we can keep building this momentum, we'll have events on a monthly basis.
Donna, how can people reach you?
So our website is tinyurl.com/DEECTGE. That's rather long, but it stands for Devon's Eco Efficiency Center, The Great Exchange.
So if you have a company, organization, small business, or whatever, and you would like to say, gee, I don't want to throw this away and waste it, could be anything from your paper clips to your office, all kinds of office, but connect with Donna, and she'll take care of it for you. And you'll be contributing, instead of to the garbage pile, the trash heap, you'll be helping somebody else. It helps other companies too, because then they don't have to pay to get these things.
Absolutely. So last year we rescued over 60 tons of material.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
that's a lot of trash.
It's a lot of resources.
It's good.
But it, it makes a huge difference. So, and it's, not only are we preserving the value of these resources and protecting the environment, but we're also saving money for both, the donating entity, as I said earlier, they don't have to pay to dispose of the materials, and the receivers don't have to pay to purchase new materials. So, that allows the not-for-profit organizations and smaller businesses to preserve their limited dollars and invest them in, preserving jobs and, promoting the
This
programs.
is genius. And
so
the more I
on.
listen to you, I'm thinking, why hasn't anybody else thought of this? It just came to you. Were you working in companies before? What were you doing as for work?
I was working with area manufacturers to help them implement and develop sustainability programs.
So you kind of got the idea of seeing all this stuff going to waste?
Mm-hmm.
You're not retired yet.
Oh, no.
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 So you're still working outside the home?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how, again, my God, the time you must put into this.
But what's really great is, we're starting to earn a name for ourselves.
Yeah.
So I'm now, receiving calls and people are saying, hey, can you do something with this? Or, hey, I'm looking for. So we've gone from having those, sporadic events to now I have an entire basement of an office building. I have 2,500 square feet.
That's amazing.
And that area we keep just adding shelving units. And just a month ago, I actually got a second location to hold kind of the overflow.
Where are your
if you will.
locations?
So they're both in Devons.
Oh, wow, that's up there. Okay.
Yeah, and so it's about just under an hour from here.
What's the most unusual thing that a company has contacted you about? Like, hey, we've got extra. What is it funny? I don't know what they would have.
So the most unusual, maybe the most challenging, was I actually found a reuse opportunity for 3 tractor-trailer loads of railroad ties.
Railroad ties? What are people going to do with it?
Railroad ties. So that story is very representative of the types of partnerships and collaborations that this program facilitates. So there was actually a concrete forms manufacturer based over in Milford that was closing, and fortunately they had heard about my program and they reached out and said that they were closing. They had these 3 tractor-trailer loads of railroad ties. They didn't want to just throw them away because they had never been used. Plus, it would have been very costly for them to throw them away.
Yeah.
So they said, "Can you do something with them?" And I'm like, "Let me get back to you." Of course, didn't want to say no, but it took a little creativity. So I reached out to the Restore, which is a sister organization to Habitat for Humanity.
What's it called again?
The Restore.
The V-Store.
Restore.
Uh-huh.
So they make available building materials. Some are new, some are gently used, available to the public, and all the profits that are generated in the store get invested in Habitat for Humanity projects.
Oh, Donna, how can they reach you?
So the Great Exchange webpage can be found at tinyurl.com/DEECTGE.
You have let's see, okay, we've talked about the office supplies. So if you're in a company, you've got an abundance of office supplies and you don't want to contribute to our trash overload. So we've got this one. Beautiful pictures that she's got here. Oh, okay. Office furniture and equipment. You see a lot of companies go bust, and guess what? Or maybe they don't know what to do with the furniture.
Right.
They can come to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so so it doesn't have to go to waste. You don't have to find somebody to haul it and put it in a trash. I don't know what they would do with it. Or maybe, do you ever deal with the with something like the Salvation Army? If you get too much.
Yeah, so it's funny you should mention Salvation Army because I just actually gave them 2 tractor-trailer loads full of materials. I work with, there's one manufacturer that had 7 pallets of brand new what's called Gaylords. They're pallet-sized boxes. They're very large containers. And because of a change that they had done in their product line, they weren't going to get to use these brand new boxes. So I reached out to the Salvation Army, who, as you know, they are always getting a lot of resources donated and resources that have to be shipped to other locations. So I asked if they might be able to use these boxes, and they were very, very grateful. So they sent their truck out to us multiple times, and we saved them a significant amount of money.
I'm thinking about what you had just talked about, the tons of railroad ties. But I watch HGTV, the Fixer Upper shows. Excuse me. I'm noticing that a lot of the rehab, the decorators, the decor people in construction, redoing houses, flipping them. There's one in particular who would use railroad ties. She's on Fixer Upper, Joanne Gaines, and I was fascinated by what she does with it. But have you ever had decor, people who are interior designers and flipping houses, they can use, a lot of people want a rustic look these days.
Yeah.
Boy, with that ad, you can cut those ties up and do anything. You could even probably make a table out of them. How wide were they?
So, oh gosh, they were probably 2 feet wide by, I'm going to say 30 feet long. I mean, they're long gone. That was several years ago.
Yeah, I was going to say, you could either take two of them. You could actually nail, I don't know, however the guys nail them together or whatever. Get that varnished and finished, and you've got a fantastic family table in the dining room. Now, kitchenwares. Who comes to you with excess kitchenwares?
Restaurants that are closing, restaurants that have changed their product line, like they're transitioning to compostable materials rather than foam materials. Schools, sometimes we work with organizations that are closing their building, and so those types of items are not worth shipping to the new location.
Packing materials.
Well, those are always coming and going on a regular basis.
Safety and facility applies. What would this be?
Anything from safety work gloves to I have a variety of colors of hard hats. I have steel toe boots. I have safety goggles. I have hair nets, lab coats, respirator, filters.
I could see people even wanting to come and shop in your storage bin.
And that's why I brought the pictures, because I can tell people, today I have over 600 different types of items, not items, but types of items. And you really can't just imagine that until you see it, and you see all of these rows and rows of shelving units just filled with
classroom resources.
Because we've closed
art pieces. Oh boy. Okay, this is good. If you're an artist crafter and you have a lot of stuff, you take it from individuals too, not just from a company, right? So artist says, "Hey, I got too much. You want it?"
If it's in a new or new condition, the arts and crafts materials that we have to offer, they're actually primarily from businesses, and those would be manufacturing byproducts that art teachers and libraries that have maker spaces get really excited about, because they challenge the creative mind.
I see the yarn, all kinds of good stuff. All right. Oh, here we go again. Craft stuff. Woo! That's kind of fun too. Are you crafty at all? Do you?
I am not.
You're not. Oh boy, I'd have a ball in your storage bin. Let me tell you. Oh, okay, more craft. Oh my gosh, you've got more.
Several rows, and so what's fun about when we're open? It's really neat. The woman that just joined my team, the first time she experienced an event, she used the analogy of Black Friday at Walmart, because the hallway, outside our door was just filled with primarily teachers that were really excited about, what are we going to see this time? Because the inventory is always changing. So what's neat is, they'll, I'll come down and they'll race through the aisles, but they start talking with other teachers that they'll see somebody looking at something else, say, what are you going to do with that? And, so they inspire each other.
Does somebody have to donate, Donna, in order to receive gift trash, in order to get?
No, because the primary donors, again, are businesses, as well as some organizations and schools and municipalities and individuals. But the way that we're set up now is when we have an event, we ask folks to pay just a small registration fee. It's $30, and for $30 they're able to leave with 5 boxes filled with resources.
Ooh.
So it's just $6 a box is a terrific savings.
When's your next
opportunity.
event like that coming up?
So we actually just had one last week, so
Okay.
we'll be doing a major reorg over the summer in order to add again more shelves.
Do people have to go up to Devon's?
Yes.
No, I don't think these are too small for Paula. Beautiful pictures, but it shows different people, participating in this.
Yeah.
Did you take these pictures?
We did. So we always take pictures of our happy shoppers, if you will. And what I like about those pictures is it shows the diverse audience that's benefiting from the program. So you have daycare providers, you have, grammar school teachers, you have fire and police departments, you have small businesses. It's really something for all of those different groups. We don't share resources with individuals just because I couldn't support that kind of demand. So it's just to organization, some type of institution.
I love the idea. It even goes to childcare.
Yeah.
That's something I hadn't even thought about. The daycare centers, because I don't know if they bring in enough to really always be able to buy
Right.
enough things in there. So this is I don't know what to call it. They pay $30 to come in and just have a ball fill 5 or 6 boxes.
5 boxes.
5 boxes. I'm looking
Like
at boxes.
bankers boxes, paper boxes.
How big?
you
What's
know.
what's the box?
So about yay by
Oh, that's great.
yay. So on an average, each participant leaves with about 100 pounds of material for $30.
How long are your events? A couple hours or?
Yes, we'll be open for 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon, just to make it easy.
When, Donna, is the next event coming up and where? Up at Devon's?
So the events are always at our facility in Devon's, which is just off of Jackson Road, which is a main exit off of Route 2. And so we actually have a significant amount of office furniture and waiting room furniture that we'll be sharing on July 12th.
Waiting, oh, I love this. Doctors waiting room. So you have doctors and lawyers who maybe they're going somewhere else and they got that beautiful furniture and they know enough to, are you connecting with all these people? Are they getting the word by you're physically going to them, or what are you doing? Or emailing them?
Sometimes I'm, physically going to them, or, somebody a business that I currently provide value to, they'll tell somebody else.
Yeah,
Or,
it's the-
the Worcester Business Journal article, did a great job in raising awareness. I give presentations at various sustainability-focused conferences.
So when's your next presentation coming up?
We'll slow down over the summer,
Okay.
but we're actually going to hopefully have a big celebration of our 10th anniversary this fall, so that
Right up to Devon's. Now you're here local. You live here, but
Yes.
how long does it take you to get up to Devon's for these?
just about an hour.
Okay, so it's not too bad, right?
Yeah, you get used to it after 10
Did you ever
years.
think
Mhm.
years ago you would get into something like this?
When I first started, I was in the high-tech sector and had a very successful, fast-paced career. But I just had this, I've always been kind of a tree hugger at heart, and I was getting increasingly concerned about how we were becoming a very wasteful society. So I decided I needed to step off of that career and do something that was more meaningful and more rewarding. So I pursued my master's degree in environmental policy and planning, and the goal was to be able to take my passion and combine it with my newfound knowledge and my business experience and make a difference, and just kind of create, the stars aligned and I was able to create these programs.
We've been talking with Dona Neely, and she is the executive director of the Great Exchange. So in other words, this is what it is. You have a company, I don't care if you're a lawyer, doctor, Indian chief, right? If you're a school or a crafter, you've got stuff that you would normally put out to the trash, but it would be a gem to someone else. You get in touch with Donna at the Great Exchange. They'll come get the stuff, right? You'll store it there, so you're not contributing to the trash heap, and you're going to help someone else.
And save money because you don't have to pay to dispose of it.
Yes, so you don't charge to come get it.
We'll ask for a donation if we're providing a significant savings. We'll remind people that we're a nonprofit organization, and I try to provide them a summary once we're done taking away the materials that are available for reuse. I will provide them with a summary that says, "Thank you for your donation. We rescued approximately X pounds or X tons of valuable resources." I'll highlight the organizations that are going to put those materials to reuse so that they know how they provided value, and we'll also estimate the savings that they achieved by donating rather than trashing.
Donna, again, how can they reach you?
The URL is tinyurl.com/DEECTGE, and that's for Devon's Eco Efficiency Center, the Great Exchange.
Now, do you have any visions for the future where you want to expand some more?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're kidding.
I'll never get big enough. I mean, that's why we started, I used to have to squirrel away stashes, and then I gained the corner of a basement, and then I gained half a basement, and now I have that, as I said, 2,500 square feet. I keep adding more shelves there. We just got, after the Worcester Business Journal article, we got opportunities to rescue a lot of really nice office furniture. So I was able to get more floor space donated for us to make those pieces available. I would love to just keep growing and be able to have more frequent events, to have more locations, to be more accessible to more businesses as well as recipients.
Was it hard to get a grant?
It's always kind of a challenge to get a grant. I was really very fortunate to get a significant grant from the Department of Environmental Protection, DEP, last year. They have an annual grant program that's called the SMRP, which stands for Sustainable Materials Rescued. SMRP, sorry. But it's basically to preserve the value of materials and to reduce waste. So they gave me a grant to that's going to help me strengthen the infrastructure of our program. So we bought even more shelves. That's when we purchased a cargo van. So we're no longer using personal vehicles or other donated time to obtain the materials. And it's also helping us build some outreach and engagement programs.
Donna, we got to leave, but thanks for being on the show. And it's just a whole new idea, I think, to a lot of people, and I can see you have your vision of branching out even more. I don't know how you have the time to do this, but you can tell that you really enjoy it.
Yes, I do.
Okay, you really are, because when I have a guest who really rocks and talks, that's just their enthusiasm, and that's really good. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for the opportunity to share my story.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you.